Hey everyone, it's Birth Reorgan, and I'm here, and this is my review for Jurassic World Rebirth, the new film directed by Gareth Edwards, and starring Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali, and also Jonathan Bailey in lead roles. Now, I'm a huge Jurassic series fan. If you've been following this page for quite some time, and if you know me really, really well, you know this by now, but these films are my childhood. I love them. They're nostalgic for me, and I've seen these movies with my family since I was a kid. So I got to see this film with my parents yesterday, and we all had a blast. It was so great, so entertaining. It's a 9 out of 10 for me. This review is a little bit biased because I'm a huge fan, but even then, I'm trying to make it as less biased as possible because even within my fandom, I still found some things in this movie that didn't really work out for me in general, but overall, this is a great adventure film. Now, there might be some spoilers within this review, so I'll give you an encapsulated review right now. If you love the Jurassic series, you will have a blast with this film. It's entertaining, it's adventurous, it's a very back-to-basics film for the franchise, and that's no surprise because David Koepp, who wrote Jurassic Park and The Lost World Jurassic Park, my two favorite Jurassic Park films in the whole entire franchise, is back here as the writer, and his blueprint is found all over the place here. There's a lot of great callbacks and homages to the original films, and also, in general, once this film gets going and once it gets into the peril of things for the main characters, it is a blast. So it's a 9 out of 10 for me. And if you don't want to know anything else about this film, stop this review right now because here is the review with some spoilers within it in 3, 2, and 1. So right off the bat, I'm going to give you some of the things that didn't work out for me while watching this film. So the first quarter of this film, let's say the first 30 or 40 minutes or so, there is a lot of establishing of characters and a lot of conversation. And when I mean a lot of conversation, there is literally sit-downs of characters talking for 5 minutes or so. And I'm not saying that's a horrible thing. It's obviously to establish character development, knowing what these characters are like before they get onto this island, the thought process that they have, and also just basic behavioral and kind of things that they're going through before getting onto this island. So yeah, I love David Koepp as a writer. I think he's fantastic as a writer. He's a great writer in terms of entertainment. But I felt like the first 30 or 40 minutes or so were kind of boring. I know it's necessary, but once this film gets past the talky portions and gets into the peril of the main characters, that's when this film gets going. So if you're going into this movie thinking it's going to be a full throttle adventure adrenaline ride right from the get-go, you're going to be a little bit disappointed and you have to wait a little bit before all the fun things happen. Another thing that I didn't really love about this film, sadly, was the score. Now, Alexander Desplat, who is the composer for this film, sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name, but his score is a little bit pedestrian here, and he's a talented composer. He's done some incredible scores till this point. I felt like his score is a little bit too melodic for the kind of theme and kind of atmosphere that this film was going for. And that was a big negative for me because I love the Jurassic series soundtracks till this point. John Williams, who did the score for Jurassic Park and The Lost World Jurassic Park, delivered two of the most iconic scores that I've ever heard. I listen to those scores till this day, and I love those soundtracks. Don Davis, who did the soundtrack for Jurassic Park 3, which I hate with all my guts as a film, one of the only good things about that movie in general was the music. I thought that Don Davis did a decent job. Now, Michael Giacchino, who did the score for Jurassic World and the trilogy up to this point, did a pretty good job too. Desplat, when he incorporates the original score into his for this movie, he does a really good job. It's very melodic and very beautiful. There's some moments in this film where I felt like an action score was used in a dramatic portion and a dramatic score was used in the action portions. And it just didn't really fit. It just felt too melodic, like I said before, and it just felt out of place. I think that was a big negative for me. And again, he's a talented composer. Not saying anything wrong about his musicality and his abilities as a musician. I just felt like he was out of place for this film, in my personal opinion. Now, to be honest with you, some of the first half jokes fell very flat, no one laughed, but once the characters got into peril, the jokes and the sight gags worked really well. And there's a joke in the middle of the film where a character has to go to the washroom, and while he's doing so, a couple of raptors are about to attack him, and then the pterodactyl comes and they have a brawl right behind him, and he's terrified. That joke worked really well, and from then on, the jokes and sight gags worked really well in this film. So yeah, those are the negatives. Here are the positives, which is a lot. One of my favorite things about this film is that the dinosaurs felt like they were just in a habitat and just chilling and just doing their thing. They're in the foreground, they're in the background, and the great thing that Gareth Edwards does is showing the scope and the magnitude of these dinosaurs. You see the size of these dinosaurs in a grandeur way, and I love that. And also he showed them in almost like in a somewhat adorable way. Obviously the T-Rex is very menacing, but he was just kind of lying there sleeping on his back like a dog. I love that. It felt like an animal. Some of these dinosaurs are just minding their own business. They're kind of walking behind the characters and not bothering them until maybe they bother the dinosaurs. And, you know, there's dinosaurs flying around. They're swimming around. They're in the background, just like going through a path right behind the characters or in front of the characters. And it just felt very real. It felt like the environment felt like a jungle, felt like these dinosaurs were just trying to survive and just trying to do their thing. And I love that. It felt very naturalistic. And again, when the action sequences happened with the dinosaurs, it felt huge. And I loved that Gareth Edwards showed the magnitude of these creatures in such a fun and epic way. And Gareth Edwards deserves a lot of kudos and a lot of credit because the set pieces were really entertaining. They were set up well, they're directed well, and he finally accomplished what all the other directors didn't accomplish with adapting the raft sequence from the original novel into this film. Or was it in the second novel? I forgot. But yeah, that raft sequence was one of my favorite things to read about, and we finally got to see it with the T-Rex and this film. And yeah, all the set pieces were really entertaining. I had a blast. There were set pieces in the air, in a cave, in the jungle, in the water. Overall, every single set piece was so fun to watch. And he really captured that intensity that Spielberg captured in the original two films. And again, I had a blast. And while watching this film, I loved the cinematography and I loved the atmosphere and I loved the set designs in this movie. It felt very much like The Lost World Jurassic Park, but one of the things that was really cool about this movie is that it felt different but familiar. And the reason why is because they filmed it in Thailand in comparison to Hawaii this time. So I love the fact that they're showing the whole island in this very National Geographic kind of way. You see a lot of waterfalls and a lot of rivers and not swamp, but kind of like, you know, lagoon kind of areas. And the jungles felt very vibrant and very humid. And while watching this movie, you know, you kind of buy into the fact that this environment felt very real. And the cinematography is very good. It's very dark. It's very lush. And again, very atmospheric. And great set designs too. It kind of felt very much like The Lost World Jurassic Park and Fallen Kingdom. But yeah, I had a blast while watching this film. And it really made me buy into the fact that you're watching these people go through this like humid kind of area. Because while watching this movie, I felt very hot and humid while watching the film. The performances are solid too. And that's a testament to the fact that you have talent like Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali, and Jonathan Bailey in the lead roles. And even though their characters are very basic, it's their performances and their, you know, abilities as performers that really make you buy into these characters. And again, a lot of talking in the first quarter or so, but outside of that, great performances. And another great thing about this film is that I didn't know where they were going towards the end. I thought it was going to go one way, and once it went to the way that it did, I was surprised and I did like it. And again, if they wanted to make this into a standalone sequel, they can do so. It's very fun as a standalone sequel. If they want to continue the story with the medicinal purposes that the dinosaur DNA will have on human beings, they can do so, and I won't be against that. I think it's a very interesting storyline. And David Koepp does a really good job of using the blueprint from the first two films and making this movie just a general, likable, entertaining film. Again, some people are going to complain saying like, oh, it's just the same old, same old. But if you're going to a Jurassic series film, what are you expecting? It's not going to be an acting-based movie. These are adventure films. So yeah, I had a blast. I can talk about this movie forever and ever. But yeah, if they continue on the franchise, I don't mind. If they stop it with this movie and do another type of story for the next film, I don't mind as well. But yeah, 9 out of 10. Outside of those negatives, I had a blast. and it made the fan in me very happy and very satisfied.